Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Medieval Weapons, which is one of the new collections from May 2023. The collection has a total of 11 Reaper projects and 656 source sounds with it. Also, one thing you want to be mindful of is you want to be on the latest Enrage version, which is as of now 1.4. So go ahead and double check that. Overall, I'd have to say my impression of this collection is that, it's extremely useful. In addition to having all the different weapon types, whether it's sword, blunt objects, or even the ranged weapons, I felt like there's good enough coverage for the immediate needs. And then also with some of the additional assets like the shield and some of the more esoteric sort of actions, I felt like it was really easy to craft an additional useful sound like I did for the fatality with pretty low amount of effort required to get something that was close to what I wanted. Taking a look at the main project window, we have the things you'd expect to find in here. There's a variety of melee and ranged weapons, and then there's also some impact projects. So you can expect to have things in here like swords, axes, bow and arrow, crossbow. There's a throwing weapon. There's shields, and then there's both metal and wood shields to be specific. So let's go ahead and take a quick listen to just a few of these to give an overview, and then we'll dive into one of the sub projects that we used for the design. All right, so here is some of the sword. Here's some of the axes. Here's the crossbow. Here's one of the wooden shield and one of the metal shields. Here's one of the melee pointed. Here's the blunt weapon, which might be sort of like a mace. Let's go ahead and take a look at the melee swords project file here. All right, so a lot of these sub-projects are going to be organized in a very similar way. What you can generally sort of expect to find is different types of assets of the same kind. So with swords, we have both one-hand and two-handed sort of weapons, and there's a variety of actions ranging from, handling to different types of impacts, stabs, deflect, and so on. So let's go ahead and take a listen to a couple of those real quick. Here's the one-handed impact, and we can see we have basic details layer whoosh, details layer trail, and then some additional familiar sorts of layers. If you've been, looking at Strata collections, this should look somewhat familiar. It doesn't look too different from previous collections or anything we haven't really seen before too much of. And then we'll take a quick listen layer by layer of each of those. One hand, basic layer, whoosh, details, custom, cinematic. One last one I would point out, and a feature that's in here, is the two-handed sword whoosh. And there's, on each of these layers, most of them anyway, you have a send set up to a fattener and a cinematic track at the bottom, which I had a lot of fun playing around with and getting the sound just right. So I'll take a quick listen and play around with those for a second. And then quickly just kind of listen to each layer here. So obviously there's nothing here in the basic layer. It's just a whoosh. There's all the material is here in details layer 1, layer 2, a little bit of a shing there, something you might blend a little bit. All right, getting started looking at the project. Let's just view the combat system in Unreal one quick time and hear it again, and then I'll go over each of the individual events for it and break down what's going on here and how I found the collection useful in this context. I have two weapons that I ended up using inside of the demo project. I used the hammer or the blunt weapon and the two-handed sword. So including all the assets that I previewed in the sword project file. So I ended up using damage, deflect, whoosh, and then also the handle activate for one specific instance. I also used this fatality, which is actually an asset from the shield subproject that I altered a little bit to create a unique effect, which I'll show you. So I have the hammer, which is actually assigned to the NPC, which is being, what you would fight as the player inside of the demo. So that, made it a little bit more interesting having the two sets of assets to play with. So great collection, another awesome addition. Plenty of material we haven't seen yet is in here. Don't think there's really too much that I was feeling like I missed out on or anything. But yeah, it's a great collection, and I actually can see myself maybe building out the rest of this demo and just having some fun with it. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you do like and subscribe so you can see the future collection videos as they're released. And again, I really appreciate you taking time to check this out. Hopefully you'll find this collection as awesome and useful as what I was able to for this project.